All right, welcome. It's time for Talk Sport on Global Television. My name is Anthony Momodi. Welcome to today's edition. The promises to be exciting as we look at the big stories making the rounds in the world of sport. We've got a lot of football stories. We'll be looking at other stories, Formula One and boxing. We'll be looking at mixed martial arts also in between. On today's edition, I've got two persons, two sports analysts, journalists who will be making their debut on the program Talk Sport. But first of all, let's give you some of the big stories making the rounds. Let's begin from female football, where Nigeria's Super Falcons are in the news this morning. Yes, Nigeria's Super Falcons have secured a spot in the final round of qualifiers for the women's football event at the 2024 Olympics by defeating Cameroon 1-0 on aggregate in the third round of the qualifiers for the games. The Falcons played a goalless draw at the Stade de la Unification Douala on Friday, but managed to score a crucial goal against the Cameroonians at the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja on Monday. An early goal from Esther Okoronkwo proved to be the deciding factor in a closely contested match. Let's tell you that the Cameroonians pushed forward, creating opportunities to tie the game and win it on the road, but Nigeria's Chiamaka Nnadozie made some crucial stops. The Super Falcons are now set to take on either Tanzania or South Africa, the Bayana in the final round of qualifiers. Just two teams from Africa will participate in the 2024 Olympics. The 2024 Olympics are scheduled to be held in Paris, France from July 26 to August 11, 2024. The Falcons participated in the Olympics in 2000, 2004, and 2008 was the last time. All right, more big stories are coming for you. Let's give you this one, talking about Rivers United. Big story, it says 3 goals in 3 minutes from Edin Kerete and Alex Owoya and Farouk Mohammed ensured Nigeria's lone representative on the continent, Rivers United, stayed alive in the CAF Confederation Cup as they ran out with a 3-2 win over the Academica Lobito in Angola. Rivers United were down by a goal in the 37th minute, no thanks to a penalty from Leonardo Ishola before Ikerete leveled the matters. 3 minutes later, the Pride of Rivers got their own penalty in the 44th minute, and Oyo made no mistake to give them a 2-1 lead into the break. Let's also let you know that Mohammed added the third for Rivers 3 minutes after the restart, and that was enough cushion to prevent late rally from the host, who pulled one back in the 67th minute through Fernando Kamuge. Rivers United will now have to beat Dreams FC of Ghana at home in either the last group game to stand any chance of reaching the knockout rounds. Meanwhile, the Ghanaians are currently leading the group with 12 points from 5 matches after beating Club Africain of Tunisia 1-0 on Sunday as well. Meanwhile, Club Africain are now second in the standings with 9 points from 5 matches, same point with third place Rivers United of Nigeria, but they enjoy a better goal difference. Next Sunday, Club Africain are home to bottom Club Lobito, while Rivers United of Nigeria need a win against the Ghanaians, talking about Dream FC. All right, so we wish them all the very best. Still giving the big stories making the rounds. Let's take you to some of the matches that were played in the Nigerian Professional Football League, where a brace from Ibrahim Yuga, as well as other goals from Captain Fantastic Rabiu Ali and Awalu Ali and Mustafa Umar saw former champions Kanu Pillars hand visiting Sunshine Stars a heavy 5-1 defeat at the Sani Abacha Stadium. The hosts wasted no time in the match day 21 encounter, taking the lead as early as the 5th minute, and they were already 3 up at halftime. Yuga completed his brace in the 52nd minute, and Umar added the 5th 3 minutes later before Promise Awosomi scored the Sunshine Stars consolation goal in the 81st minute, his second goal for the club in 2 straight games without a win in their last 5 games. Sunshine Stars of Akure now find themselves in the relegation zone with 23 points from 21 matches. In Eket, it was Akwa United struggles in the relegation zone continued as they lost a 1-0 to home at home against Bielsa United, and second half substitute of Eyonga scored the only goal of the game in the 77th minute, and they were also reduced to 10 men in stoppage time after sending off of Oluwasegun Adekunle for a second bookable offence. Thanks to a second half goal by Akumaga So, Lobby Stars defeated the bottom place Heartland of Owerri 1-0 in Lafia to extend their lead on the table to 3 points. Meanwhile, let's take you to the Pantami Stadium where Gombe United won their first game in 5 matches with a 2-0 win over Sporting Lagos, just as Niger Tornadoes beat Abia Warriors 1-0. The only stalemate recorded on Sunday saw 3SC force Plateau United to a goalless draw at the Rampam Stadium in Jos. All right, that's some of the results of matches played in the Nigerian Premier League, and probably let's just give you some updates as regards basketball, and talking about the Tigers, who have not been doing so well. Despite a promising start, winning the first quarter 24-16, the Tigers flattered in the remaining quarters, losing 23-19, 21-18, and 18-11 respectively in those different quarters. Nigeria senior men's basketball team, the Tigers, suffered their third straight defeat in the Afro Basketball 2025 qualifiers, losing 78-62 to Cape Verde on Sunday. This follows previous losses to Libya and Uganda after a tumultuous build-up to the window one of the qualifiers in Tunisia, despite a promising start, winning the first quarter 24-26. So it means the Tigers have lost 3 straight games. Very sad commentary for the Tigers, despite all the very shaky preparations. We thought the Tigers will be doing well. All right, a little bit of tennis news for you before we move on. I introduce my guest and we get into the discourse segment. Let's tell you that after a not too impressive outing at the just concluded ITTF World Table Tennis Team Table Tennis Championship, African Table Tennis heavyweights in Nigeria and Egypt, as well as other continental contenders, have now shifted focus to the forthcoming African Games taking place in Ghana. For the 13th African Games, table tennis is one of the sports that will kickstart the Games before the official opening on March 8, as the likes of Omar Asaf, Egypt, and Kwadiri Aruna of Nigeria are expected to begin their hunt for medals in the singles event. All right, that's telling you about tennis there. And let's see if we've got other stories, giving you stories from the athletics world. The World Athletics confirmed the participation of 20 reigning world champions and 7 Tokyo Olympic gold medalists, with a total of 651 athletes from 133 nations vying for glory. Nigerian athletes are set to compete at the World Athletics Indoor Championship in Glasgow, Scotland from 1st of March to the 3rd. However, one notable absence on Nigeria's roster for the showdown in Glasgow is to be Loba Amusun, who recently set an African record in the 60 meters hurdles event. Amusun had hinted she did not have plans to competing in Glasgow coming into the year, so her absence may not be so surprising for those who have followed her closely all season. The World Athletics on Sunday confirmed the participation of 20 reigning world champions and 7 Tokyo Olympic gold medalists, with a total of 651 athletes from 133 nations joining the competition. So it's going to be a very interesting one at that. All right, let's before we go to the foreign scene, let me introduce my guest, then talk a little bit about some of the top stories, and before we focus on Osimhen and others scoring great goals. I have in the studio Annette Patrick, a sports journalist. Nice to have you in the studio. It's been quite a long time.
Thank you so much for having me, Tony.
All right, the Super Falcons finally did it after the first leg in Douala, where they played a goalless draw, and yesterday 1-0 victory. Were you surprised or were you impressed with the outing of the Super Falcons?
Well, for the Super Falcons, it's been a wonderful trend for them when it comes to football, because Nigerians have actually been impressed with the way they play and how they bring the game home. And they've been champions over time,
9 times,
ensuring that this is what Nigerians need, and we need to give it to Nigerians. So for their turnout in the stadium, in the Moshood Abiola Stadium yesterday. It wasn't really bad for me, if you ask, because yes, they wanted something different from what they have. But you remember we had the goal which was cancelled at the one in Douala, and a lot of people were hoping that when they come down to Abuja, it will be a different ball game. But don't forget that Cameroonians as well also have their own game to also bring to bear, and they want a different narrative to show that Nigerians, we can still come behind you and ensure and get a result. So it was both sides looking for a balance, looking for the best team to win. But Nigerians are not giving up as they always do. They always want to come out winners and be the best team. So we hope that going forward, where they had their lapses, they'll look at it and build on that and come out stronger. All right,
this is the business end of the qualifiers now. They are meeting either the Bayern of South Africa or the Tanzanian team.
Yes.
For you, which of the teams would you prefer the Falcons to face? How the rivalry between South Africa and Nigeria has been, and South Africa has been emerging as one of the great teams when it comes to female football.
For me, I would love Nigerians, the Super Falcons, to play with South Africa, because it's when you see the monster you're scared of and go for it, it gives you the strength to know how strong you are. So in the game of football, our women have done very well, if you ask my opinion, and I would like them to go further and show their strengths. So for me, I prefer them to play with the South Africans and not look at the other team, because if you have the stronger team you're scared of and you can deal with it, why not? It gives you more credit.
Okay, so what kind of pressure will be on the coach Wardrum now and the players? For the players, they've shown that they're not scared of the Cameroonians. They kept saying they were confident they were going to beat the Cameroonians. For Wardrum, would you be insisting he sticks with the team that gave him all the 3 points in Abuja? And also for the players, the issue of overconfidence, if they face the Bayana, because Bayana are very tricky, and they've got a very world-class coach.
Well, I think our coach needs to sit back and look at the strategy which he wants to bring to play, because you can't allow overconfidence. Let's look at a bit of what happened with our Super Eagles. You know, at some point the win we got, a lot of people were so confident, we could do this, we could do that. Let's play down on confidence and look at strategy. What's going to give you the results you're looking for. So don't forget that South Africans are strong at what they do, and they know this is what we need to win at some point. So the narrative needs to change, the overconfidence, the strength of me, I want to, it's me. The coach needs to sit back, look at the midfield, look at the defense, look at the team that brought him the 3 points here in Abuja, and ensure that if he wants to change, even if he's going to change a bit, he should be sure of who he's bringing in that will fit in what the team has given to him in Abuja, to ensure that the results of getting the final ticket is what we're looking for. We're not just looking for playing, we're looking for winning, which is what I want the coach to sit down and look at, and not just look at the area of, okay, this team gave me this. No, it should be of strategy, of winning, and drop the overconfidence, so that Nigerians will enjoy watching the Super Falcons, because that's exactly why Nigerians look forward to watching the Super Falcons when they play football on the pitch. It's always interesting looking at the tactics they bring, the midfield, the defense. They have teamwork. If you ask for the ladies, they do a good job on the field.
All right, let's just look at it in terms of most times when we qualify from the African continent, we do not get past certain levels in the international scene. Are you confident this team has what it takes to go far at the Olympics, and especially when we have Azizat completely back into the team, because there have been some running feud between her and AB at a point, but now it looks like the team is more united?
Well, you know, one thing with experience gives you an edge, because you've been through this part before. You can still come back, learn from your lessons, and pick the rough patches and fix it. So with us that's coming back, and we have AB and we have the team, they know that united they can stand. If you have the teamwork playing, because teamwork is what gives you the desired results. So I think it might be different. The story might be different. With what we saw, the story might be different. They might look at teamwork, giving the results and ensuring that it's one thing for us. Winning is for them first. It starts with them, and then the country embraces them, and then the global world also embraces them and sees that, okay, these people are good, and it gives them an edge outside in the global space, that if you get this at the Olympics, it's going to give you the best run for subsequent games that comes for you. So I think it's best for Asisat to sit back and bring in her wealth of experience and work with the team, ensure that it's more of the team playing and the team is giving the country what they need, and ensure that the narrative of when it comes to the global space, it's a different ball game. It's only when it comes to Africa we're doing our best. We can go cross it. Looking at, I'm going back to the Super Eagles, because Super Eagles, no, a lot of people had given up with the playing and all of the
because
losses
of the
and overtime.
During the qualifiers.
Yes, you know, but look at what played out in the just concluded games we had with them. So it shows that things can change. The only constant in life is change. And it takes determination, and it takes working in unity. If you watch our games for the Super Eagles, it showed.
AFCON, yeah.
Before AFCON and during the AFCON and afterwards, though they were disappointed, but they knew what they wanted and they got the result at the end of the day. So I think the narrative can change, bringing Asisat and Ebi back into the game and ensuring that the best team will come out and they'll go across this global stage.
All right, before I let you go, I know you have other things you have to go to. Before I let you go, let's talk about a little bit of the Swan Neko issue. You were among those that were selected to be in the committee to carry FCT Swan to the next level. Okay. How key was that meeting, trying to mend fences with the different factions in the FCT and the elections? How far is the committee going in terms of preparations?
You know, I want to say it's a great move from the national body, national president, okay, ensuring that there's peace in the house. You know, last time we spoke, I told you, I said, united you stand, divided we fall. If you don't work in unity, there's no need building up a house. And then we've had this war going on for the last 3 years, and it's not doing good to SWAN, that is the Sport Writers Association of Nigeria, yeah, the FCT chapter. We've had this going for the last 3 years, and it's time for the narrative to change. So the national body thought it wise to bring up people who are of good character and who are willing to bring peace. And I was privileged to be part of the team, and I'm privileged to be the secretary of the committee. Yeah. And we've had our meetings going. We're trying to see how we can get this fixed and have the body as one umbrella body. And so far, the process we've carried out so far has worked. We've put in a lot of measures looking at to
ensure free, fair, credible
election. We have a time frame for 2 months, which is around April, to ensure that the elections are up. Okay. So we've done the merging. We're trying to see how we can merge both houses to ensure that everybody's under one particular umbrella, and see that FCT Swan is known for that firmness in which it's known for, because I know several times when we're working as a team, we could make statements and they know this is FCT Swan speaking. So the division has not helped anyone for the writers. So I think it is the time, and we're doing the right thing, and we hope at the end of it, with election going to be put in place, because we're following a guideline with the time frame we have to ensure that everything is in peace. Okay,
before I let you go, just to get your take, do you think Jose Peseiro should remain the Super Eagles head coach? Some are saying sack him because he didn't have good relationship with the local coaches like Finidi George, who's an ex-international who played in Ajax under great coaches, and he's our own ex-international. He's supposed to be respected. Well, if he disrespects Finidi George and co, should we still give him the job? And because Peseiro is more like using Nigeria to make name rather than we use him. Nigeria is a bigger brand than Peseiro.
Yes. Well, Peseiro for me had done a good job with the team over AFCON and all that. With the relationship, anyway, for me, I always look at people. I tell people, good character should speak for you, because people are your wealth. Like you said, Nigeria is far bigger than the brand of Peseiro itself. So let's look at, I always believe in finding a balance.
All right.
We've always had this picture of when somebody's not doing well, is not giving you what you want in the instant, you let him go. No. Sometimes you don't need to let somebody go when you know there is a bigger picture in front of you. So why don't we look at a level playing field? He's bringing his experience of ensuring that the team is doing well. And yes, he doesn't have this working. Why don't you call him to order and say, you can't do this to our ex-international. He's a good person. He has wealth of experience. You can call him and say, except he's not coming to terms. then you can look at changing that narrative. But let's not always let's not be fast to throw in the towels or tell somebody, leave the space, you're not giving us what we want. The narrative should always change.
All right, so now you know where she stands. She stands for Giuseppe Sierra. I want to say thank you very much. It's a pleasure talking sports with you. And I hope in the coming days and weeks we'll talk more as regards all the big things happening in the exciting world of sports.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so we'll go for a very quick break. When we return from this break, we're going to have Uche Udo, who is another fantastic sports analyst. I think the women have taken over this morning. We're going to have one great one go, another great one coming as we talk sports this morning. Stay with us. All right, welcome back from the break. We're still talking sport on Global Television, and I'm so excited that the women have taken over the show this morning. We've got Patrick Enete just leaving, and we've got the queen of the sports airwaves for Kiss FM in the studio here. We've got Uche Udo Hillary. I need to put that Hillary in the mix just to get it right. Thank you for joining me in the studio. Very grateful to have you join us.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, I don't know how pleased you are. The Super Falcons yesterday, they did the needful, getting 1-0 victory against the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon. First leg, they scored and the goal was disallowed. For me, I can't really tell why that goal was disallowed, but do you think the job is done already, or we should be careful ahead of the last game?
Well, the game for yesterday wasn't actually a problem for me. I knew that we were going to get past Cameroon. It might not be an array of goals, but it was going to be a decent game, and it was a decent game. In as much as they brought in so many theatrics into the game, trying to touch the net, trying to distract the players. The Cameroonians, the indomitable Lionesses. Yes. But at the end of the day, the job was done early enough in the first half, so it was done and dusted. I was not particularly afraid for that game, but where I have a problem now is the game against South Africa, because we know that South Africa
is likely to beat
Tanzania. No, they had beaten Tanzania in the first leg by 3 goals to nothing. So
the
now
second leg
is going to be, it's just going to be a formality. So at the end of the day, it's the South Africans that I'm afraid of. They might actually lose to a lowly team, but whenever they see the Falcons, the Super Falcons, they get too excited. They want to,
that rivalry.
Yes, they want to ignite it. And Desiree Ellis, the coach of South Africa, she's talking tough. She's doing well. They want to pick up that spot to the Olympics, but we haven't been there in 16 years. We need to get that much needed win against them. I have a problem with Randy Waldrum not being able to, or Randy Waldrum's team rather, not being able to win an away match. They haven't been winning away for like a while now. They have been doing draws and coming back home and finishing the job. Like they finished the job at home very well, but you need to be able to have, we want to see the same Super Falcons that have dominance in and outside the country. You cannot just be a local champion, but you just have to go out and do it in diaspora as well. The same way the Falconets do it, the same way the Flamingos. Are actually, they will beat you home and away and tell you that, yes, we're the best that you can find. So that's what we want to see. It can't be dicey if you don't get, because the away goal rule still stands. So you need to be able to do the job outside the shores and come back home and finish it up.
Well, what do you think is missing in Waldrum in terms of his team? Is it that he has not discovered the killer kind of striker we need, or is just his approach to the game, or what's really missing? Some say it's because we've not gotten some home-based female players who want to die on the pitch, who a raw material that this all we have is just Ajebo girls on the pitch of play.
Not really. We need a number 9. We don't have a number 9, a striking number 9 for the Super Falcons. That's number 1. But
the current gangling tall striker we have, we
don't have a number. No, we don't have a number 9. I keep saying it that Ifeoma Onumonu is not built for African football. No matter how much I've watched her, I was in Morocco watching her during the women's AFCON. You no matter the kind of passes you give to her, the kind of balls you give to her, she doesn't score. So you ask yourself, what is going on? Is it the pattern of the coach? Like, if you leave a coach, Madugu, who is an indigenous coach, he wouldn't use her. But we saw when Madugu took over before Waldrum came back, we were having players to score goals. We were scoring as much as 4.
So why not maintain that coach?
That's I don't know why the NFF feels that Randy, maybe because of his not color, but maybe because of his achievements during the World Cup, which I know that is not just about him. It was a collective achievement, both from the players, from the coaching crew, and the NFF themselves, because they had to give him a fitness trainer. They had to pay for 3 months. He had a 3-month contract paid for to go and help Randy with the fitness of the players. That is one of the things that Randy wouldn't tell you. And you will think that he's the one that is doing everything. Now, the approach to the game is always not the tactic. It's not working. Yes, I know, I agree with the fact that you have to keep an Oshoala on the bench to come in as a substitute. I totally agree. But what do you do with the remaining players? Now, if you look at the difference between what Madugu had to play against the Cape Verde side and against what they had against Cameroon, you will see the difference. There was hunger in that game. You saw Rashidat. Yes, we know that the Lionesses are built physically, they can bully, but even at that, the connecting play was not there. The missed chances, the fact that they can't even string 5 passes.
They hold the ball, yes.
They can't string 5 passes.
Dictate the pace of the game.
A problem. They can't string 5 passes successfully. Is a problem. So these are things that he has to look into. But for some reason, Randy is who he is.
All right, let's talking about the South Africans. Do you think it's going to be easier if we win the first leg, if it's here or there? The result of the first leg will determine if Nigeria definitely is going to qualify.
I think the best bet is go to South Africa. The least you can get in South Africa is a draw with a goal or 2 goals, or even win the game. But just do something significant that when you come home, you can be able to build on it. And maybe if you want to pack the bus, if you want to play an all-out attacking football, fine. You want to hold on to the ball in the midfield and distribute, fine. But you just have to get a significant result and go. If you have to, even if you have to get a draw in that game in South Africa, let it be there's a goal in it.
For you, which is the strength of the Super Falcons?
The midfield. When they put in
Tony
Abiodun, Abiodun, the Abiodun girl is everywhere. I really love her energy, and she brings it for Nigeria. Well, we could have seen her at the World Cup, but we saw her once, and she was given a red card. She didn't continue, and until they crashed out, she wasn't able to play. So I want to see a midfield that looked like what Okobi could have controlled. The days of Rita Chikwelu and the rest of them. Yeah, so that's what we want to see. Their strength is in the midfield, but they're not capitalizing on it compared to before, where we have to dominate the midfield, we control the game. So if you are able to control the midfield, then you're able to read the game, you're able to control the game and get what you want out of it.
Is that time to bring in more players for the Super Falcons? Because some people believe, yes, this team, they've played together for a while, they know themselves very well, but they need reinforcement in order to make the team better. Like in the attack line, like you rightly pointed out, not as potent as we know we can be, because we've always had potent Super Falcons attack. So can it be done? In the days of Messi, Kide and Co.
Yeah, we can still have that lethal kind of play up front for the Super Falcons. But it all depends on Randy. So we can actually pick up all the players in across the globe, but Randy might not still want them, because for some reason he's just fixated about having players that are playing in America. I don't know why.
Do you think there's this tendency that he's marketing some players? That's why he's
tendency that there has been allegations that he's marketing some players in America, and that's the reason why he calls them to the national team to see if they are market value. Mostly when they are local-based players in Nigeria, he picks them, tries to market them. That's an allegation. But well, when you see the strings, it's not too far. But for me, if you have to even market players, you have to do it with players that are marketable, good enough. That is what we want. You cannot shove Ifeoma down our throat and you tell us that she's the best you can find. She's not the best. There's Patricia EJ. She's scoring goals. She played for Sweden under-23 and she scored a hat-trick.
Can't the NFF, the technical committee led by Augustine Eguavoen, can they force? He's working for us. Can they make him look at these players?
No,
is it out of place?
They can't force him.
But they can.
Because the way the nomenclature now is in the NFF is the president allows the coaches.
That's Gusso now.
Yes, the president, Ibrahim Gusso. He allows them to do what they want to do. So you don't cite NFF interference. The NFF can only give you an advice on what to do as what they think is proper for you to do. But they don't shove it down your throat that you must do it. So that's where they allow you to do what you want to do. So when you are failing, they will have the reason to sack you. So without you coming out to say you interfered. That's why when you see what happened with the World Cup list and talking about the Super Falcons, you will notice that there was an Okobi missing. And when they asked him, he said he didn't want an Okobi.
But for you, was that a good call by him? Wasn't Okobi one of the dedicated players?
It wasn't a good call, but you know the way it is. If Okobi had not gone, you wouldn't have found an Abiodun.
True.
It's when something different goes, another one comes. So we wouldn't have been able to find out if the likes of Rita Chikwelu, you wouldn't be able to find Abiodun. You wouldn't be able to see the likes of Tony Payne. You wouldn't be. So it will be difficult. So I think that it has come to the point where the NFF president says, okay, this is what you want to do. This is the technical department's advice on this, and you say this is what you want to do. Okay, that's fine. But you have to get us the much needed result. The same way it happened with Super Eagles. You have to get us the result. You cannot tell us you're going to fail in Côte d'Ivoire. What your limit is, or the minimum you're going to get to, is the semi-finals.
All right, I wanted to save the best for the last, talking about Super Eagles, but now you brought it up. Let's talk about the Super Eagles. For you, the debate now is, should Peseiro stay or go? For you, reports said he didn't work well with the assistant coaches like
Finidi George,
who is an ex-international. Should we make him stay if he doesn't respect those coaches?
No, apart from not respecting the coaches, I think you should leave when the ovation is loudest, for me. Because I know that Peseiro is struggling. And I usually say that...
When you say struggling, how do you mean?
Struggling in terms of he doesn't agree with any other person. His philosophy is his philosophy. He doesn't listen. So if he plays a 3-4-3 that works for him, that's what he's going to stick to. That's why we lost the finals. Because he wasn't listening. You're using a 3-4-3. You have used it from the Ivorian match, the first Ivorian match, down to the finals. It's not working. You almost flopped against South Africa because they knew what you were going to do.
Play, yeah.
Now, in the finals, you could have tweaked it a little, brought in a Kelechi Iheanacho, because you're still using the same starting 11 that they already mastered.
But was he? Lots of people said he goofed when he started Samuel Chukwueze instead of Simon.
Yes, he goofed. Yes, he did goof when you started a Samuel Chukwueze, and you, at the end of the day, there was no justification for starting him. So now, he felt that that was what was going to work for him, and he didn't listen to anybody. Even before then, the players had told him that, Gaffer, please, can we tweak this a little, because we want to win this? And he said no. He's sticking to he's sticking to his guns. And you find out a coach telling you that if they score one goal, when we asked him why is it that
they were all defensive,
that they don't score goals, we need more goals, and he said no, one goal is enough to win a game. So automatically what he's trying to tell you is that if he scores a goal, he goes to defend. Now, the first goal in the finals, they could have opened up and gotten another goal. Apart from the goal that was disallowed, they could have gotten another goal. But his mentality is defend the one you already have.
So he's and from defending, mindset.
Yes, and from defending what you already have, you consider two.
In terms of substitution, do you think he also goofed making very, very late substitutions? Yeah,
very late substitutions. The substitutions are good, but very late in making them. Because if he had brought in a Kelechi Iheanacho in the second half, and Hassan in the second half, the trajectory would have been different. We could have been scoring goals. There are some dead balls that Kelechi can deal with. But at the end of the day, you are not doing anything. And you brought them 70-something minutes when the clock was already ticking down, and you know, at that time when the opponent is winning, the time is running very fast.
Okay, let's wrap up the finals. Some people said he also lost his cool when his players were also losing their cool when the Ivorians got under the skin of the Super Eagles. Yeah. We expected him to have calmed the boys down. Rather, he got more fixated, more angry at the touchline, and even got a card. Does that make him a good coach for the Super Eagles? Someone who
anyone can lose his cool. Zidane has lost his cool. Carlo Ancelotti has lost his cool. Jose Mourinho has lost his cool. Pochettino, who is cool, has lost his cool. Thomas Tuchel has lost his cool. So any coach can. That's the first time I've seen him lose his cool. Yeah. He doesn't lose his cool. He's always very composed, always very coordinated. But you know the pressure that comes with a finals. Yeah. You know the pressure that comes with more than 200 million Nigerians waiting to lift the cup. It is normal that you would lose your cool, and I like the fact that even if he lost his cool, he didn't go over the edge by getting a red card or something. He still had to keep it together. It was just a yellow. So anybody could have lost his cool, even the greatest of the greatest. Have you seen Jurgen Klopp lose his cool? So or Pep Guardiola lose his cool. They always lose their cool, so it's not really a problem.
Okay, so for you, would you want a Peseiro stay or Peseiro go?
I think he should just go. That's my take. He should just go. He has done his, written his name in the AFCON history and gotten an MON, and just go. And
we've got Algeria angling for him.
I think he should just go to Algeria. Because let me tell you something, the truth is that he might actually be bereft of ideas by the time he comes back for the World Cup qualifiers. Because there's a way success.
I was thinking he would have known his players better now.
The best resume that he has, or the best thing that has happened to his resume is Nigeria. Is Nigeria. So it is possible that it might get into his head tomorrow that he's doing excellently well, when we know that, according to Nigerians, they coconut head. So it's best that he just goes, because he doesn't want things to be tweaked. So it's a problem.
Let's leave our darling Super Eagles. Let's talk about the Tigers. The Tigers. First of all, we had 2 weeks ago, I think February 16. we had the MBBF come out to say Nigeria was going to pull out of the Afro basketball qualifiers. Then fast forward 2 days, a day, 24 hours, 48 hours later, they say we're back. And voila, we got to the venue, from the airport to the court. We lose our first game against Libya. We said, okay, probably we're going to do better the next. We lost against Uganda and the third against Cape Verde. Was this what we expected from the Tigers?
I was expecting it. When you take local-based players, basketball players, for a competition, for a qualifier, that there is no league in Nigeria, basketball league, functional basketball league. Wow. What do you expect? I know the fact that, yes, we want to stamp out the foreign base, but when you're stamping out the foreign base, please make sure you have a league, a functional league, a running league. And these things are things that I keep saying that you need to have. The ministry cannot keep holding on to federations and you don't give them money. The federations cannot keep saying, we are there, that the ministry has to give us money. Go and get autonomy. Go and look for money. Stop being lazy. Yes, some of them will say, oh, we use our personal money, we're tired, to fund, we're tired, we're this and that and that. But tomorrow, as I'm talking to you, the MBBF president is going for third term, Musa Kida. So if you're always using your money and you're tired of using your money, why do you want to stay there now? Why do you want to? Did they bury your placenta in that position as the president? No. You have to go and look for sponsors, and you have to make sure that your players are, your federation is marketable. They keep complaining that, oh, it's all about football, it's football, because the Super Eagles is marketable. Sometimes I even say that the way Amadou ran the Super Eagles, like he was even shortchanging them. The Super Eagles is the biggest brand. Now, in the AFCON, the Super Eagles were worth, as in cumulatively, if you start selling those players, they are worth more than $500 million. They are worth more than £500 million, all of them put together. They are good. They are the most expensive squad in Africa. In Africa, they are the most expensive squad in Africa, and you come and shortchange them. Now, the D Tigers are the most, for me, they are the most expensive D Tigers players they have in basketball players in Africa. So, have you marketed them well?
And they've been champions for
three, four times back to back. Now, have you marketed them well to be able to get money from sponsors? Have you marketed the D Tigers well? So when you say you are using your money, this one, down, we don't have money, the ministry on their own too, allow these people to go and look for autonomy. Or you just sit down and tell them, we cannot give you more than XYZ in a year. The remaining is you that is going to be doing it. But no, the ministry has a way of, okay, let's hold on to the federations. That the money that comes in, okay, so it will pass through us, and we'll know how it's being spent, and we can even ask for our own. That's the reason why it works. That's the reason why that's the only reason why I see they are doing this thing. In the US, you only regulate as a ministry. You don't fund. In other countries, you only regulate. You don't fund. So if you're regulating and funding, and at the end of the day, they can wake up and tell you that there is no money, and it will not function, and you can't do anything about it.
How sad is it? Because we know that in 2022, the federal government did place a ban on basketball, so that we could get things
lifted after two hours.
What do you think is, why is Kida? Can't the sports ministry do something about this Kida factor? No, is it turning personal?
No, that particular,
because you know, Uguche at a point was also trying to get into the picture.
Yeah.
Do you think he would have done better?
Well, I don't know if he would have done better, because the polity is tense already. I don't know if he would have done better. But the fact that they were pulled out, that's talking about the D Tigers, they were pulled out at some point, and after less than 2 months or 2 months, they were said, okay, there's no ban anymore, was just a selfish... It was just a selfish decision made by the ministry and the then minister, Sunday Dare. It was one of the things that the players will not forget. And he never apologized for it, because it was wrong. They didn't have anything to... If you wanted to have a problem with Kida, or you wanted to fight Kida, fight Kida. Fight Kida. Don't add basketball players to it. And you made them lose their spot at the World Cup. That was
Which
selfish.
Is very painful.
That was painful and selfish. At the end of the day, you come out and tell them that, oh, that the federal government had rescinded the decision, you on the 2-year ban, people can go back after you have done that damage. Now, if I kept saying it that if you don't have brotherhood with Kida, you will not be playing with basketball now. There's a brotherhood. I kept telling people that this fight between Sunday Daya and Kida was, they will settle. They will know how to always settle the fight, and they did settle it. It was just from a press from the PAMSEC reading it to us, telling us that after much meetings, Kida had apologized, and so it was apology you were looking for, and you pulled out a national team from a major competition. If it was an apology, Kida would have said sorry a very long time ago. But right now, I think that the way it is looking, they now want to make that, talking about Kida, he now wants to make basketball look like it's a family thing, and it's not like that. You have to let people in to be able to help you. You can't do this thing alone, because if you start doing it alone and you are now the emperor, the conqueror, only you in one setting, it's not very good for Nigeria.
All right, a very sad commentary there. In case you're just joining us, we were talking sport and looking at, let's just share some stories with you, and then we keep on. It was the second goal in 5 days for Nigeria's Victor Osimhen, who scored just once at the African Cup of Nations. What do you think is happening to Victor Osimhen? Do you think he was too much? There was too much pressure on him at AFCON. That was why he probably couldn't really deliver the goods. No,
his job was not to score, basically. The job was just create that intimidating atmosphere for every defense, attack, just bully them, and he did his job well. The job description was there, and he did it well. He wasn't selfish. Even when he got the penalty, he had to give it to Troost to play. Yeah. So it was just about me doing my own job, and his own job was to make sure that the defenders, I trouble you, and Lookman does or any other person can do the job. So
for him,
coming back to Napoli.
Yeah, everybody's looking at where should he go? PSG, Chelsea. Where should be the best spot for Osimhen to move to?
Well, I would have said he should go to Chelsea, but I'm not very impressed with Chelsea and their low-budget Travis Scott players. All those ones that have plenty here, like that. I'm not very, and they are not playing the kind of football that is very entertaining for us to be able to say Victor Osimhen should go there. They're not going to the Champions League, so. If there's no Champions League football, why would you go to that kind of team? So the best bet is, I think where he's going to fit in well is PSG. Since Kylian Mbappe is moving to Real Madrid, I think the best bet is to go to PSG. He will make his money, he will make his mark, and he might still end up coming to an English club or a Spanish club. All
right, let's quickly just get to take us regards what played out over the weekend, the Carabao Cup. Lots of people are saying this has shown that Pochettino is not really a fit for Chelsea. Is Pochettino a bad coach, or is just having a bad run of form since he left Paris Saint-Germain? It looks like things have not really turned better. Was he in a hurry to move to Chelsea?
Okay, when he was in Paris Saint-Germain, the players were playing to help him win a trophy.
Okay.
Because he had the arrays of stars. He had the players to play. So it was just as if when Maurizio Sarri came to Chelsea, he hadn't won anything in his life. So Chelsea played for Maurizio Sarri to win. And PSG played for Pochettino because they were playing out of pride. It is PSG. The Ligue 1 were the best. So we wouldn't have a lowly coach come and spoil it for us. So they want something for him. Now you're coming to Chelsea. You're coming to where it's not an Abramovich you're telling you need a player and he's buying it for you. You're coming to an American that buys players for you. If you ask Pochettino, truthfully, half of his squad, he doesn't want them there. Half of those players, he doesn't want them there because he doesn't even know them. He doesn't know where they picked them up from. So sometimes if you blame him for not being able to coordinate them, you don't blame him too much because he doesn't even know the players, and maybe he didn't even want half of the squad there.
Okay, let's wrap up our conversation. Xabi Alonso, by Leverkusen, doing great job. Thomas Tuchel getting sacked again from Bayern Munich. Do you think it's also the end of the road for Tuchel? He's getting too many troubles everywhere he goes. And what's wrong with Tuchel? We used to see him as a decent coach.
Tuchel, I think winning the Champions League with Chelsea got to him and got to his head, and he felt, oh,
he was a world-class coach.
A world-class coach. You know, I can handle anybody. It's not every player you can handle. It's not every player you can handle. You need to have patience, tenacity, determination to be able to help, as in to be able to talk to them, to get the best out of them.
Yeah.
You cannot, because you won the Champions League. Zidane won the Champions League back to back. He won it 3 times. So
Ancelotti
has his own. So he won it 3 times in a row. Talking about Zidane, but he was able to manage the stars that he had. It was a matter of time. Even if there was a little bit of conflict there, Benzema would have wanted to be the star man instead of Cristiano Ronaldo. But he waited for his time because he had a coach that told him, your time is going.
That's Carlo Ancelotti.
Yes. Now Carlo Ancelotti is there now and told him, Benzema, your time is now. And he played out when he was going to play out and went to Saudi Arabia. And he's still telling the younger ones, the likes of Rodrigo, Vinicius, Brahimi, Jude Bellingham, the time is now. I know that Cristiano Ronaldo must have done a whole lot for the club, but you can still take them to a higher level. So that is the kind of coach that you have to be patient. You have to be able to read the kind of players that you have. Have you ever seen a player... You're subbing off a player, talking about Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah.
He's subbing off a player and the player takes a water bottle and smashes it on the floor. You don't see that. You see them coming out joyfully and happily. Because if you don't do that, I bet you, I play another player, even if I lose, I lose. I will take the loss. But I will teach you a lesson. That is the way it's supposed to be. Sometimes you pet these boys, sometimes you make them feel that you have to stamp your authority. Ancelotti, Pep Guardiola doesn't go to players' houses, but he went to a player's house. The same thing with Ancelotti. He comes to the likes of Rudiger's house, sits for dinner. That's how you know your players. That's how you know that they can relax towards and give you the best. Because why? Our coach is like a father. Why do you think that most players, they got the best...
from Sir Alex Ferguson.
Sir Alex Ferguson got the best out of the likes of Sheringham, the likes of Solskjaer, Scholes, Giggs, like that. He got the best out of them because he was not just a coach who can stamp an authority in Carrington. He was also like a father figure. When you see Ronaldo's son, call him grandpa. So you basically expect that. I know that the era of those era and now it's not the same. Yeah, but these boys need guidance. They are young men that are willing and able to do anything at any point. And they are even prone to mistakes. All
right, in final terms, are we going to see how we saw Julian Nagelsmann come with so much panache? We thought we've got a new Guardiola, and the next thing is off. Is that what we're going to see with Xavi Alonso?
No, I think Xavi is experienced enough he's experienced on the pitch. Nagelsmann is a very young man that, they just wanted to stifle Nagelsmann, but he couldn't withstand the...
Who wanted it? He took the job in Bayern.
No, but
did he take that job too early?
No, he didn't take the job. He was getting results. Nagelsmann was getting results. It wasn't as if Nagelsmann left because he was not getting results. He was getting results, but he was too young to assimilate the pressure. Now you have an Oliver Kahn up there. You have the big boys up there, and they are telling you what to do. They are mounting pressure, the kind of players you have to get in. It becomes a problem. Okay. But Xavi and Alonso, who has been to the best clubs in the world, and Alonso might be able to soak up the pressure. He can actually look Oliver Kahn in the eye and tell him, no, I can't do that.
All right, so much pleasure talking sports with you, and I didn't want it to end, but this is where we're going to call it a wrap. I want to say a big thank you to Uche Nwudo, Hilary, for joining me on Talk Sports this morning. It's been amazing.
Thank you very much.
We're going to do this one more time, two more times, or as many times as possible. Thank you very much for joining me on the program.
You're most welcome.
All right, that's how we're going to call it a wrap on today's edition of the program, Talk Sports. It's been the day for the women taking control of Talking Sports this morning. I want to say thank you to Patrick Kanete for joining us, and also not forgetting Uche Hillary. Amazing Talking Sports we had. Let's do this again tomorrow. Good morning.